Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. What's going on, everybody? This is Jon Does. Jon Does. Day bow bow. Chick, chick, chick. Jon Does now.
Jon Does now.
Oh, man. What's going on, everybody? This is the post-Christmas 2023 episode of Jon Does.
I thought you were going to say post-COVID.
We've done a lot of post-COVID episodes.
A lot of people have COVID right now.
Literally every episode of this was post-COVID of this show.
Oh, yeah. Post-pandemic.
Yeah, post-pandemic. COVID is morphed. It is now Movid.
Yep.
Figure it out. Scientist.
There's more of it.
That's your job, Pat.
Yeah, I'm working on it. My team and I are,
You and
by my team, I mean,
the Kings.
yeah, we got the entire hockey team.
I should have worn a sweatshirt that says Queens.
I'll have to find that for you.
It's just like, I'm from Queens.
No, it's just like Queens, and it has like a bunch of like drag queens on it or something.
All right.
Yeah.
RuPaul.
Yeah,
Trixie
RuPaul's Drag
Mattel.
Race. I don't know who that is, but yeah.
Oh, man. Get online, bro.
Stop being such a turf.
Yeah, stop being such a turf. Oh, man. Well, hey, before we get going with everything, because we've got a long episode, I think this will go for a while. Don't forget to check out my Instagram page. This is the Wild Dinosaur at thewilddinosaur.com. There's cool stuff that I post there regularly.
Liar.
Yeah, I post a lot of art and fun stories and stuff like that. I recently posted about how I'm kind of open for helping people learn Photoshop and Premiere Pro and Logic Pro. If anybody's right now trying to figure out how to use those, like beginner level stages of those programs and need some help, reach out. I'm available and we'll work basically on a sliding scale. If you're broke, I'll work with you. If you have money, $1 million an hour.
Seems reasonable.
It seems totally reasonable. Yeah. No. Well, I'll help you out if you need help with any of that stuff. But also go check out the website, WildDinosaur.com. I'm excited because it's getting a facelift in about a week, and so I'm gonna stop using this B-roll. I'm gonna have to make new B-roll for this, but I'll show you a little bit right now. This is what the website currently looks like. There's some music videos there on the homepage, and then I have a merch shop, and there's some cool stuff in there. There's all kinds of T-shirts and sweatshirts and socks and those V-necks, those women's V-necks we recently took off the store. They're no longer there. We just have the unisex T-shirts, but we have the baseball shirts and the tank tops and sweaters and sweatshirts and stuff like that. We also recently added mugs, which I got one as a gift for somebody. I got this Indica Island one and the blue that you saw up there. It's actually the sweatshirt I'm wearing. Yeah, so there's framed prints and stuff too, and there's gonna be some hopefully in the next couple months I'm gonna have the time and resources to upload some new stuff to the store. I want to get some frame prints from some older stuff, and I have a couple of new prints that I want to put up for some items. They might not go on every item. They might not, you might not get kids T-shirts or socks or stuff, but I might do specific prints for like mugs or framed prints, or maybe like a unisex T-shirt or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I got some stuff coming this year, so go check out wilddinosaur.com. Go buy some stuff. I really, really need the support. I have a lot of stuff I'm trying to do, and that is how you can help support that. I have like short films. I have, Jesus, so much stuff going on these days. I have a record coming out on the 24th. It's already submitted.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. It's been submitted
for the approval of the Midnight Society. We mentioned that, I think, last episode.
I mean, you can't put out a record without getting the approval of the Midnight Society.
Yeah, at least Midnight Club, the racing video game. I don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind.
Actually, for anybody who did watch Are You Afraid of the Dark back in the day. They used to take the sand
Yes.
and dump it in the fire.
Yeah.
When you submit a record approval for to the Midnight Society, it's a similar thing, but they take the handful of sand and blow it in your face.
That's nice.
Yeah, I couldn't see for a week, but hey, I got a record coming out, so
Yeah, it's like at the end.
worth it.
At the end of Bloodsport, one of the greatest films of all time.
Bloodsport
Chong
is
Li
awful.
blows some sand into Van Damme's eyes.
yeah.
And then he's like,
Yeah, that
his
scene
face is hilarious.
That scene is
It's legendary. The reason that I like that the reason I like that movie is just from watching it as a kid. And remember at my friend's like vacation home, it was one of the only VHS tapes that we had, so we watched the shit out of that.
I mean, I get nostalgia, and I get like people understanding like, oh, this is just a bad movie, and liking it for that.
Yeah, exactly. We laughed at it.
I
as
have
kids.
run into people that legitimately think that is a good movie, and
Bloodsport.
Yes,
Yeah, it's terrible.
It is awful. It is one of the worst movies I've seen in recent. We watched it a couple months ago, right?
We did.
Yeah. It was in our Van
even
Damme
as far as Van Damme movies go, that's on the lower tier, and that's one of his like more beloved movies.
Time Cop is one of my favorite out of the ones that we watched.
Time Cop might be the best.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Street Fighter's great, but it's a disaster.
Oh, that movie is a total disaster.
But it's good because it's
all the
fun.
cocaine.
Yeah, and also Ming Na Wen.
Yeah, Ming Na Wen, and
Raul Julia swan song.
Yeah, Raul Julia. Okay, yeah, there are some positives to that movie. There's Raul Julia, Ming Na Wen, and Kylie Minogue.
Oh yeah, she's not in it enough.
Kylie Minogue does not do great acting in that movie, but it's Kylie Minogue. I love Kylie Minogue.
We know. We saw your Spotify Wrapped.
Also, Pat, you saw me back in high school when I used to rock that Kylie Minogue pin. You remember that?
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. That's true.
Everybody was doing the locomotion, man.
No, I mean, if in high school it was more of the what's the huge hit?
Oh, was it Come Into My World?
No, but that's a good one too.
That was a little later.
Yeah,
it was a couple years later. That was a good one.
The like la la la.
Yeah.
La, 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 la. Yeah.
I don't want to
can't get you out of my head.
Yeah.
That's what that song's called. Can't get you out of my head.
I don't want to get another.
Dude, there's an awesome version of that with Parcels and this other singer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Awesome cover. People should check that out.
They're
on
good.
YouTube.
I haven't checked them out in a while, but yeah, Parcels.
They're an awesome live band too.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen them actually live, but their live performances that I've seen on YouTube.
That was an awesome live band. Is Jungle. Jungle was a great band.
Jungle is a great band too.
I also
if we were gonna do top albums, I would have brought up the Jungle one from this year.
We might. I don't know if we'll do TV or record top tens. I felt like the film one was.
Yeah.
You and I know both had consumed a lot of like media this year.
We
like
always do.
Visual media, and I know there was a lot of shows that we got into and whatnot. And I have a lot of things planned for the next couple of weeks. So maybe I would feel more inclined to do like a top 10 like or top 5 shows of the year.
Cool.
Something like that.
I think last year we did top 5
albums. Yeah. Because I'll admit I don't think I consumed enough new music this year. There was a couple.
Fair.
I don't think
that's how I felt last year. And then last year also with the movies, I like hit rushed. I was really sick, and I remember I had to do it remotely last year's top 10
you
films.
Called in.
I did, and I just consumed a ton of movies in those few days that I was really sick. And I remember last year, dude, one of them that really stood out and still does is that the Netflix All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
That movie is so harrowing. It's brutal, but it's so beautifully shot. The cinematography is just incredible. And that's the one. That's like the main thing that I think about when I think of last year's list. And then how good Everything Everywhere All at Once was.
Oh yeah,
that movie. It was just. I don't think there was a movie that really rivaled that this year for me.
What do you mean? In
or
what
Avatar?
sense?
Avatar, I think was my favorite movie of last year. Was Avatar 2
of last year. 2022. My favorite last year was
Al?
the Al Yankovic story, and I still stand by that ranking. 100%. I stand by that ranking.
We've had more context now this year after going on that Harry Potter marathon.
Yeah. Well, hey, I still got a couple things to get through.
Sorry.
Let me get through some of these other house cleaning things before. New record coming out on the 24th. Next week, re-release of another video.
Starring yours truly.
Starring this guy. He was sick for a couple of shots, so I had to fill in on a couple. He wasn't sick. I just had to make shots, and I was doing stuff. But anyways, Pat's the star of that one. I make an appearance once or twice. It's the title track to the EP, I Have No Friends on This Planet. It will be re-released next Friday. And then following that following week, we're gonna have the website updated with stuff, and we've cleaned, like I said, we cleaned up the store a little bit. We got rid of the women's V-neck shirts, and right now we're just doing the unisex and tank tops and the baseball style T-shirts. So hopefully that's a little easier to navigate. So yeah, those things are happening. Pat, we have big news. I don't know if you've paid much attention to this. New Pantz 1 has exceeded 20,000 streams on Spotify.
Hey, that's impressive.
We have done it. We've made it to the big leagues. Lady Gaga ain't got nothing on this shit. Yeah, congratulations, 20,000 streams. The second New Pantz record is somewhere around 8,000 streams.
Hey,
something
that calls
like
for
that.
a secret handshake.
That was a very secret handshake. Nobody knows how to do that.
And nobody saw it either.
Nobody saw it. It didn't happen. So yeah, congratulations, New Pantz. If you haven't heard New Pantz, go listen on most of the streaming platforms. There's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all that stuff. New Pantz 1 and 2 streaming. Go listen to it. They're good records. They are intertwined.
I had a good time making them. I mean, if that's worth anything, which it isn't. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, Pat, fuck you.
Yeah. But, if you listen to them, if you want to check out the music, do so on Spotify or wherever you prefer.
I have a recommendation as well. Both are short EPs. They're about 25 minutes, I think. I think the longest one is like 25 minutes.
I think the first one might be a little bit longer than the second one.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I think there's one or two more songs than there are on the second one. I recommend putting them in order. Into a playlist.
Yeah, you might even be able to find our playlist on there, because I think we both made one with both.
This is another reason why I like it when people subscribe to Wild Dinosaur on Instagram, is because I oftentimes link these things up there. The website has links to all of these as well. If you go to my website, wilddinosaur.com, there is a music section right next to the merch store up at the top, and if you click on that, there are links to everything there as well. But yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, it's also more fun because I do fun little stories or post like new artwork and stuff that I'm working on.
Little AI shorts.
Yeah, AI shorts. Actually, something I'm gonna do tomorrow is I've been re-advertising the Smell the Rain video that we premiered last week. Was that last week? Was that 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I post like a 30-second clip from that, and then I have like a YouTube link to the video, So I tend to post stuff with links, so you guys can all find those. I like to be accessible. New Pantz 1 and 2 are incredible. And also be on the lookout for Wild Dinosaur. I Have No Friends on This Planet EP coming out on January 24th, and I want that record to get over 20,000 streams.
I want that record to get 20 million streams.
Me too.
So let's make it happen.
Pat helped with that record. Pat helped me mix that record.
And we spent a lot of time and effort on that record.
Yeah.
So please check it out. Give it a listen.
Both of those singles were a lot of work when we did the videos for them as well. So yeah, please support us.
How could you resist this phase?
Oh, I didn't mention, I don't know if this looks different to you guys. I'm using my older camera for this. I think it's probably going to be okay.
It appears to be about the same.
About
to me.
the same.
Well, as far as we can tell on the
my higher end
preview.
camera that I was using for streaming, didn't matter what resolution you're at, it still streamed at 720 regardless. Yeah. And so that's why I was like, let's just use the old one. And I think the battery life is gonna be more substantial on this one. Yeah, they just kind of had
not that that's ever been really too much of an issue.
No, but we can screw around longer if we want to on episodes. I think.
So you might have some deluxe episodes coming soon in the future.
Maybe. Well, I mean, I want to do some tests. You know, like if we go long tonight, I kind of want to test the camera. You know.
All right. Well, we very well may be doing so because
we got stuff. We got some movies to talk about, which now we can get into that.
All right. Well, we started to talk about it a little bit earlier, but this week we're doing our top 10 movies of the year 2023 in the bag. All right. So should we start it off?
Yeah, let's start. I don't have any segment opens or anything for this. Sorry, I should have made some. I should do this because I think we did this last year, and if I keep streaming, I'll probably do this next year too. Oh yeah. Hold on. Oh shit! I need to clean that.
It turns out he wrote it in Sharpie.
The last time I used this was episode 136, which was like 20 episodes ago.
You got to get it like over the full frame. Yeah, and then snap it. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, it took a second to focus there.
Yeah.
Well, you want to go first?
Sure.
Start us off.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to do my number 10, and then Pat's going to go into his number 10.
Let's do it.
My number 10 is a big franchise. It's the second time they've done a movie for this franchise. This is the first successful.
You know, the first one. No, I'm just kidding.
First one.
The first one is a discussion for another day.
That is. I don't dislike that movie because of nostalgia. It is not a good movie.
Oh, not at all.
But this one was really fun, and it also stemmed a very popular song out of that called Peaches. And the movie that is on my number 10 is the Mario Brother movie. I had a really good time watching this stuff. Mario doesn't need in like super deep story arc line or anything like that. And they didn't do that. There was a fun storyline.
People were going to see this movie regardless of how it did.
Yeah, it's just Mario is so popular that
of how it was. I mean, like regardless of how the movie came together or anything, people were going to watch it. But it was a really fun film.
It was super fun. That I think is a conversation across the movie conversation, the movie scape right now of like the descriptor fun in movies can be a bad thing. You know, like Marvel movies, Ant-Man, it was fun. But like people are looking for more out of like that extended universe and stuff like that.
This movie did not need to be more.
Mario was fun.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be more. They'll probably do sequels, and it also does not need
sequels.
But they also don't need to have like connected stories either. Like,
there doesn't need to be a Nintendo cinematic universe.
What I did need more of was Charlie Day as Luigi, because we got fucking like 2 minutes of him in the whole movie.
We got more. Obviously,
it was more than that, but like not enough Charlie Day as Luigi.
Agreed.
And I was looking forward to that. So that's my number 10. That would be the Mario Brother movie.
All right,
Pat.
Yeah, I have a number 10 that also
with large fries and a Coke.
wasn't that well received, but let me just tell you something straight up. Go back and watch the other sequels, because those also aren't the best movies. This is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching this. I saw this in the theater. I saw it in IMAX, which also may have swayed my decision, because it was nice. I mean, the movie looks good, sounded good. The acting was pretty spot on for everybody that was involved, like everybody that needed to. I thought the addition of Phoebe Waller-Bridge was fairly successful. I mean, I think they could maybe pass the torch on, was the intention, maybe a little bit, but it's still up in the air. And seeing the old Harrison Ford.
I don't think it's still up in the air. I don't think it's going to happen.
Seeing Harrison Ford get a proper send off after the mess that was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was all right. And I saw this movie with my dad.
Justice for Shia LaBeouf.
He enjoyed it as well. But yeah, that scene in Crystal Skull where he comes in with like the full on Marlon Brando gear is such a joke. Man, it's funny. But this movie I thought was good. I thought it was just as good as the other two sequels that are Temple of Doom and because we watched those early. And Last Crusade, we watched those earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I'd watched Raiders before. Raiders is still my favorite by far. But I think that this one is obviously better than Crystal Skull.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not great, all right? It's not a great movie.
Look, we were discussing earlier about this, that I wasn't a big fan of it. There's fun stuff about it, but there are some things that very much don't work.
I don't want to give too much away about the movie if people haven't seen it yet. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some stuff that's a little tired for me as well.
I have one critique, and it's not specific to Indiana Jones. It's specific to a lot of movies that came out in the last couple of years.
Just time travel?
It could no.
Okay.
It could be. Well, you didn't want to spoil it.
I don't, but I didn't say too much.
No, it's just that this movie could have been 20 minutes shorter. I think there's so many movies these days that are like just too long.
This movie probably could have been like 45 minutes shorter.
I saw it one time in theaters right when it came out. It was fun. It was fine. But yeah, that's my critique of that one.
Well, it's my number 10.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So my number 9 is should maybe be higher on my list, but there's just a lot of things that I liked more. And that is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It is not a bad movie at all. I have a little bit of a hard time wanting to go back and rewatch it. And I think mostly is because of the my review of it talks about there is a little bit of animal cruelty in there.
Yeah.
I don't
simulated, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's just a little bit of that makes me not want to revisit it as much, because for me, my favorite movies have a rewatchability factor to them, which I think this is why it's lower on my list, is because I like this movie a lot. I don't know that I will rewatch it as much as like the first Guardians movie. I saw in theaters like 6 times and then watched a shit ton of times after it came out, The second movie, I wasn't as big of a fan. I like the third movie a lot better than that second one, for sure.
It can be tough to go back and have to watch Bambi's mom die
over
and over again. Nobody wants to do that. And it sounds like this is something similar. I missed this one, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah.
I will watch it at some point.
It deals with Rocket's backstory
that's
a lot,
what I've heard.
And like there's some other animal friends that he has, and it's just kind of sad at moments. And I mean, it's not frivolous. They don't just throw this shit in there. It's part of the story, and it means something, and it makes the story good. It's just a little difficult for me to want to go back and watch some of those scenes. But everybody in that movie does great. I like the villain, even though he was kind of underwritten. The actor, what's his name? Is it Chukwudi Iwuji? I think is his name. Forgive me if I mispronounced that or got it wrong. He was in Peacemaker. Did you watch Peacemaker?
I did.
Right? He was they set him up to be the villain. He was like the leader of the crew. And then remember he had like the turn where they found out he was like, what was it? The moths or something like that? Butterflies or.
Oh yeah.
Is it Ern? What's his name? I don't remember. It's been a while.
Peacemaker is so good though.
I want to
go back and watch that.
Yeah, that's one I want to go back and rewatch. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is great. It was a good send off for James Gunn in the MCU. I'm excited to see his DCU. I need him to stay off social media because I can't listen to these fucking DC fanboys just bitching about James Gunn all the time anymore. Just let him make his movie. Once the movie comes out, if you don't like the movie, then critique.
Yeah, did you like Peacemaker? Then shut up.
Did you like any of his other movies? I mean, dude was essentially running, until he got fired, he was going to be heading a whole corner of the Marvel universe until he got fired, and then DC picked him up. Like, he wasn't going to be the Kevin Feige of Marvel, but he was going to run the whole, like, space side of things, or, like, the weirder side of stuff. So they were setting him up to have, like, a kind of a large role at Marvel already. But anyway, so that's my number 9, Guardians 3. What's yours?
My number 9 was your number 10, which is the Mario movie.
Oh, okay.
The Super Mario Brothers movie. Mm-hmm. And we've kind of covered most of what I would want to talk about that movie as well. But...
Well, stuff we didn't cover was, like, the voice acting.
Voice acting?
Charlie Day.
Everybody was pissed about...
Chris Pratt.
About Chris
Another
Pratt.
Chris Pratt movie here.
Yeah. Like, Chris Pratt's going to voice Mario. What a joke. Like, it should be... But, like, what are you looking for? Do you want some over-the-top, like, fake Italian accent?
Yeah.
No. Probably not. I think he was fine.
I think he was fine, too.
They're just like, these are some New Yorkers. Okay.
I do have a bit of the opinion that I wish Hollywood would respect voice actors more, because, like, if we respected voice actors more, the voice actor for Mario shouldn't be a problem voicing that. The problem is you have to sell a movie off celebrity, right? And so they have to throw in some celebrity. But, like, if we didn't have that kind of mentality behind movies, like, the original Mario voice actor would have been fine.
But I don't think that any of the voice actors in the Super Mario Brothers movie were miscast. They all seem pretty solid.
I don't know if I agree with this. I did hear somebody say they thought Anya Taylor-Joy was miscast as Peach, and I was like, I don't really see that myself. I thought she was fine.
Yeah, I just don't really have an opinion one way or the other.
I actually like that Peach more than I like in a lot of the games, because she doesn't have a terrible amount of personality, really.
She's more of just a damsel in distress.
Usually.
Yeah. I mean, she does make an appearance in some of my favorites. Like, in Super Mario RPG, she is a playable character.
Oh, okay. I guess to be fair, I haven't played every single fucking Mario game. So.
And nowadays, like in the more recent Mario platformers, you can play as Peach, you can play as Toad. A lot of them are 4-player now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a Mario movie.
Oh, another one quick thing about the Mario movie. And the voice acting, which I do think there could be potential spin-offs of this too, is Seth Rogen
as Donkey Kong.
As Kong, yeah, Donkey Kong, and maybe doing, like a Donkey Kong Country, like side movie or something with him and Diddy.
Right.
Diddy was annoying in that. They didn't show him much, but he was in the crowd during the race. The race, or was it race or
the
fight?
The fight.
Yeah, and he was just and he was just kind of annoying. He's like, Donkey Kong!
They got to get Michael Cera as Diddy Kong.
Yeah. DK.
Yeah, I like the DK rap. They brought the DK rap, which I think was just like some internet original.
Yeah.
They just included that because it's now like, it's been so popular.
It's just culture now.
Yeah, it's just part of
You want to know
popular culture.
You want to know what white culture is?
Look at the Donkey Kong rap.
Meme culture. That's white culture. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, I guess we're moving on to your number 8.
All right. Well, my number 8 is it was Oppenheimer. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's The Creator. I saw The Creator in the theaters a while ago when it was still in theaters, and I really enjoyed this movie as a sci-fi that wasn't based off of prior intellectual property. Oh no, Pat's
keep going.
Pat's over life. He's jumping out the window.
Keep going.
He's all, fuck it, just jumps out the window. So The Creator, it was Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
I always fuck that up. Is it Gareth Edwards or Gareth Evans?
No, Gareth Edwards. He also directed.
Gareth Evans did the Raid movies.
The Raid movies?
Yeah, have you ever seen those?
No, I don't think so.
Man.
What are those?
They're like these, I think, Indonesian like action cop movies.
Oh, sounds sick.
You know the like hallway scenes that they talk about in like Old Boy, or like the Raid has some of like the best like hand to hand like cinematography and shit like that.
Cool. But yeah, anyway, the creator.
The creator by Gareth Edwards, director of Rogue One. Let me scoot in here. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
The director of Rogue One put this together. I think it's funny because I spend some time on Reddit every once in a while, and some of the groups that I see are like filmmaking and cinematography groups, and the conversations in the cinematography groups are all about the creator, because the creator was shot on a Sony what's the model? Fuck. I think it's the FX3 or something.
It's the Sony shit fuck.
And it's a consumer friendly camera. I think it's like not much more expensive than one of my cameras. I have the Blackmagic Pocket 6K.
Yeah.
I think it's like maybe like $1,000 more than that, which sounds like a lot of money, but when you look at cameras, like
it's nothing.
If you're gonna go buy like a Red camera or something like that, you're looking at minimum $20,000 minimum.
This is more like $5,000.
Yeah, this is like a consumer friendly camera that you don't have to buy. You know, like, sure, you should modulate your camera gear to good lenses, you know, rigs that you know, gimbals or however you're gonna do it. But like those big expensive cameras, you know, they're a lot of money. And this was a consumer friendly one that they shot on. It looks beautiful. The movie looks great.
It does.
And yeah, I think it wasn't. It's not the best movie of the year in my opinion, but it nailed so many things for me. It was new and original. It looked great. It had an $80 million budget, $90 million budget, which it looked better than The Flash, which had like a $300 million budget.
It looked better than movies that have, like 3 or 4 times the budget, like you're saying.
It looked so fucking good. The acting was great. I don't think it nailed all of the big themes that it goes for narratively, but that is not as bothersome to me as some of the stuff other movies that have come out this year have done. But
any standout performances for you in that movie?
I mean, John David Washington's great. I do like oh my gosh, what's her name now? She was in the Eternals. She's in the MCU now. Well, now she's actually like 2 different characters in the
Gemma
MCU.
Chan?
Yeah, Gemma Chan. I liked her in the movie. She's really good. Most everybody does a good job.
Allison Janney.
I liked Allison Janney too. I feel like they should have had more of her.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she's amazing.
She is great. Yeah, I just could have used more. That's all. So the creator is my number 8 for a lot of reasons. You tell me why I should. Never mind.
My number 8.
Yeah, give me your number 8. Let's go.
My number 8, I think, is.
I don't want you reading my list.
I'm not reading your list. You got you.
I see you.
I got you.
Keep looking over there.
My number 8 is Godzilla -1.
This is your number 8.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Godzilla -1. We saw this movie recently last week.
-0.
-0, guys. I had listed originally Godzilla -0. And I didn't really know. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations. I saw a trailer. Mm-hmm. I knew it was a Japanese-produced Godzilla movie. And this one knocked it out of the park. I think it takes everything that makes Godzilla movies entertaining and increases the humanity of them. You get to more understand how the effects of this Godzilla monster are like what the effects are on this war-torn Japan in, you know, the 1940s after the U.S. had just finished like bombing the hell out of Tokyo. Now they have got to deal with this beast from the ocean. Man, it was a lot. But I thought that, yeah, the emotional content, the acting, everything was pretty much spot on for a great disaster / kaiju movie. And it brought back that classic Godzilla music.
Yeah.
You knew that shit was going to go down.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So good.
So that was your 8?
That was my number 8.
Oh man, okay. You got anything else you want to say about your number 8?
No, we can. I feel like it's going to be on your list somewhere, so we'll talk about it a little more here.
Maybe. We'll see. Well, my number 7 is probably higher on your list.
All right.
And it's probably going to win awards. My number 7 is Oppenheimer. And it's down on my list. It's further down on my list, not because bad movie. Again, I think one of the big things for me that I value in a movie is rewatchability. And not that I won't ever watch Oppenheimer again. I just don't know that I will watch it many times. And also, if you know me at all, if you watch this at all, you know I am not the biggest Nolan fan, which is a big issue for a lot of people, apparently. I don't dislike Nolan. I just don't care for a lot of his movies. There's, I don't know, certain things about them that I just don't vibe with very much. I think there's an aesthetic thing for sure. But Oppenheimer, I do think is maybe his best film to date. I don't think he's done anything better than this. I think everything he's been doing was practice until Oppenheimer. Again, this should be higher on the list. I do really like this movie. I thought it was great. I thought the cast is insane.
Cast is incredible.
It's insane. Like, even side characters are like fucking Josh Peck or is it David? What's his name?
Benny Safdie.
Yeah, Benny Safdie, and then do you remember the Santa Claus?
Yeah,
the like head elf. Yeah,
Leonard,
Bernard. Yeah, David. I keep wanting to say it's Horowitz. It's not. I just watched some interviews with him talking about working on Oppenheimer. But even he's great. You know, like everybody across the board is really good in that movie.
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. is a fucking lock for Best Supporting Actor.
I would say so.
I haven't seen all the other movies out that are nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but I'm almost positive he's going to nab that Oscar.
I was getting chills just thinking about some of the scenes. Yeah.
Oh my God, so good,
crazy,
so good. Masterclass in acting, masterclass in cinematography. It's a great movie, and yeah, that's my number 7. I know people are going to be like, number 7, that was your number. That should be like 2 or 1.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Hey, it's your personal preference.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Your favorite movies.
This is not what movies do you think are going to win the Oscar.
Not technically the best.
This is what are our favorite movies of 2023. So, Pal, why don't you tell me what your number 7 is?
That being said, my number 7 was Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh boy.
What's the subtitle on that one?
Honor Amongst Thieves.
Honor Amongst Thieves. Yes.
There definitely is.
Oh man. This is a movie that I hope will have multiple sequels. I'm hoping. I'm not so sure. I don't know how well it did in the theater. I think it did decent. No, it didn't. No. That's why it was available on streaming almost instantly. Yeah. But this movie was a ton of fun. A ton of fun. Like, look at the cast. You have
Chris Pine,
who's probably the most charismatic Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, man. I feel like other Chris's get more spotlight than he does now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, he's kind of the best out of all of them.
Yeah. He takes what we love about Hemsworth and Evans. And, I'm just kidding. They're all great. All of these Chris's are pretty great.
They are.
But, dude.
Chris Pine.
Great Captain Kirk.
His dad was the captain on Chips.
And also, Captain Kirk's dad in Star Trek is Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, awesome. They could be brothers, but man, let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
They could both be Dario Naharis. Let's not sidetrack to that.
Let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons here for just a minute.
Let's do it. Tell me about it.
All right, so this movie starts out with a hilarious escape scene. Like, I don't want to get too much away,
yeah.
but like just the credit scene already, you're just like, man, you're in for a ride. And
So
who's the dude from Bridgerton? I don't know what that actor's name is.
Oh, it's like John something.
That guy was a standout for me.
Oh my god, the best character in the movie. I fucking loved that.
So
character.
much fun. You can tell we're getting giddy here just talking about it, because this movie is
like,
super fun.
The end, when he not the end, but like when he's done with his scene and he's just like walking away down the beach, and they're like, is he gonna go around that rock? Or is he gonna? Nope, you just walk right over it. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know how like accurate it is to the Dungeons and Dragons lore. I know that they dropped some cities. Maybe they could have incorporated more lore from Dungeons and Dragons into this movie, but it really didn't even need that. It's just a fun fantasy movie that does not take itself seriously.
Yeah.
And there needs to be more like that. It's just fun, all around good time. Watch this movie. I believe it's available streaming on Paramount Plus.
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
It's worth a watch.
Yes.
And there's even a fun, like one hit, one off single song from the movie by Tame Impala.
Oh yeah. I was forgetting about that.
So cool. It's just like those cheesy movies from the '90s that we like, Three Musketeers and Robin Hood, where they have Bryan Adams songs.
I've had that Bryan Adams song from Three Musketeers.
It's kind of like that, but it's Tame Impala.
Because it's all for one, all for love.
I like what Rod Stewart does in the video. Where he's doing the arm thing. Yeah.
Oh, dude, battery life. We've only gone through a quarter of battery, and we're 40 minutes in. That's good. That's good news. I hope this camera works out.
Yeah, I can see that it might be a little Well, it's a little laggy on the viewer here for us, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like, see how it's a little laggy?
Where?
Just the mouth movements and
here.
Yeah.
No, that's not laggy.
That's fine. That's how it always is.
That's not laggy at all.
Just making sure.
Yeah, you're tripping out.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do know that everybody should watch Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
So that's your number 7, huh?
My number 7.
All right. Well, my number 6 is also another very popular movie that I liked a lot. And it's the sequel to another movie that I liked a lot. And that's the Spider-Verse. Fuck, I always fuck it up. Is it Across
the Spider-Verse?
The first one's Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Then it's Across the Spider. And then the third one that's coming out will be Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Kind of a take on the Beatles or Across the Universe. Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, this movie was really good. It's a sequel to a movie that I was very impressed by. The animation in that first one is top notch, and
it only gets better in the second one.
It really only does get better. It's not like they needed to like fully up themselves, but they just changed things in ways that was like unique enough. Like when I think about Across the Spider-Verse, I still think about in the beginning of the movie when the vulture comes in, and he's like he looks like he's like drawn on parchment.
He's from like the Renaissance.
Yeah, he's like
Da Vinci type drawing.
He's like steampunky, but he's like on parchment.
It's so cool.
So cool. It is very great.
They're like sepia tone.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool animation.
Jason Schwartzman's
The Spot is a character I don't know that I am familiar with at all. Not that I'm like...
This is a real character, though, from the comic.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like not, a main Spider-Man type villain.
Well, they take pretty much everything Spider-Man and then just go crazy with it.
If you keep an eye out, there's a Spider-Man dinosaur. T-Rex at some point in the movie. It's cool. That's why I love the movie.
Yeah, you gotta get your dinosaur cameos where you can.
Gotta get that representation.
That's right.
Yes, Across the Spider-Verse was so much fun. It's not just a great animated movie. It's well written and well acted. The story is super emotional, and it only expands on, the first movie was super emotional, and this one just expands on the depth of the characters. In the first movie they focus more on his uncle, and then in this movie it's a lot about like him being more like a Spider-Man now. He's a little bit more established. But like the depth of his relationship with his parents and all this stuff. Dude, the Indian Spider-Man, I forget what his Peter Patel or something. I forget what his name is.
I can't remember.
So fucking good. It's the guy that was in Deadpool, the cab driver in Deadpool.
Okay,
does the voice.
I've seen him in other things too.
Yeah, there's that bit about like, why do you call it chai tea? You're calling it TT.
I do remember that. Yeah,
chai means tea. Shit's great. But yeah, it's so visually pleasing. And it's a really emotionally great movie that happens to be a comic book movie. Visually you can tell it looks like a comic. I don't know if I have enough words to describe how cool this franchise is, and I can't wait for the third one. Pat, what do you got for your number 6?
My number 6 is also an animated movie. And it's one that we recently watched.
Okay, I think I know what it is.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
No way.
It is such a good movie, man. Like, this one, I really felt, because I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan, as I think many people that are our age now were in their younger years. And the franchise was, the original movie's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like 89 or 90, whenever that movie was released. That movie's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The sequels weren't.
No.
But and then there was the Michael Bay one, which I had heard mixed reviews about. It was all right.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
I liked some of the action sequences in those. Not great.
But this is the first time where the teenage in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was I really felt like it was represented.
Yeah.
And this movie's also enjoyable, I would say, for any age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's a family movie. It's a movie about acceptance. It's a movie about, about just, like, not fitting in, looking for a crew.
Pizza.
Pizza. And Jackie Chan as Master Splinter. It's so good. He's probably my favorite character in the movie. Him and a couple of the crew. Yeah, a couple of the villains.
Oh man, the voice crew in that whole movie.
Top-notch writing.
Yeah.
And they just worked it in with like popular references. So you get those pop culture references, you get great animation. We were talking about Across the Spider-Verse. I thought that this one was almost as good in the animation style. It's not as hyperactive, not as impressive visually maybe, but it still looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the voice actors too were like unknowns, I believe, for the most part.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for the turtles.
Yeah, for the main turtles.
Yeah, and they did a great job. It really did feel like they were brothers and they were, in it together. And I can't say enough good about this movie, honestly. Maybe I'm not even doing it enough justice.
Well, I'll say more because my number 5 is Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah. So interesting to see that be above Spider-Verse.
I struggled with that.
Yeah.
I really did struggle with that. And right now I'm still thinking should I flop those? I think I liked Mutant Mayhem a little bit more because the Spider-Verse was a sequel.
Yeah.
And this was new. It was like the first in this thing. I agree with you. This is probably the best Ninja Turtles I think we've ever seen.
It was my favorite.
And
I didn't even talk about the score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It was also great. Yeah, I can't. And then they had some music in there too that were just some licensed songs that were also well fit. A solid fit for the movie. Sorry, it's your turn to talk about it.
No, that's fine because it was that. I like it when they're like when mine is also next year's because then we can just kind of
might have a couple more of
the
that
conversation.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was really fun. Again, art style is really cool. It looks painted. It looks like a motion painting kind of, like a digital painting. It's like you can see the brush strokes and stuff like that in there. The animation was great. The story was, the story didn't need to be anything crazy.
I think just the main thing about it being that, kind of that whole dichotomy of like, oh, our dad Splinter doesn't want us to go out but we want to like have more, we want to have friends and be normal teenagers.
It's a coming of age movie for sure.
It's difficult for anybody as a teenager. But imagine how difficult it'd be if you're isolated from the rest of the world.
Yeah, and a turtle.
I just think it was very relatable.
Yeah.
and maybe one of the most human movies. It just so happened to star mutant turtles.
I mean, I think that's a lot of it too, because it's the theme too. They meet others that are like them, not turtles, but other like mutants, and it's all about like coming together for a cause. And like you were saying, the crew is hilarious. I think. So when I was growing up, I had a bunch of Ninja Turtle action figures, and one of my favorites was Mondo Gecko. And Mondo Gecko is not in any of the live action movies at all. Not even the Michael Bay one.
He might have been in a couple episodes of the animated series.
Yeah, I think all like where he came from. And Mondo Gecko is in Mutant Mayhem, voiced by Paul Rudd. And I was like, it's like my life made sense at that moment when I was like, oh my God, my favorite character and one of my favorite like comedic actors, I guess. I don't know. Paul Rudd he's like Keanu Reeves in a sense. Like, he can almost do no wrong.
Yeah, it's true. Man, Paul Rudd in Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah. Paul Rudd in anything, really. And yeah, sorry, who was Superfly? Was it Ice-T?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Fuck, I always do that. I'm not racist, I promise. I'm just an idiot. Yeah, honestly, a good villain too. And like, there was I don't know, the villain had like moments of like being a real villain, but then I felt there was moments where it was like he kind of understood where everybody else was coming to it at moments. But yeah, I don't know. Mutant Mayhem was a really fun movie. It was a really good Ninja Turtle movie. Again, Jackie Chan's the standout of that.
Yeah.
Those kids are great. And usually when they do like voiceover stuff, a lot of actors go in a booth by themselves. Sometimes they do like reads together and stuff like that, but a lot of the times actors are just in a booth by themselves. All of the kids were together in the rooms when they were doing their parts, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they got to improvise, and then they animated some of the improv stuff that they were doing, you know? All the little like quippy lines that they were coming back with, and yeah, just a kind of a new take on. They also have similar core personalities as as we all know the Ninja Turtles. You know, like Raph has always got the Raphael has always got the like anger issues and stuff, and he does a little bit, but he's also a teenager and fun and hilarious. You know, just as much as the other turtles. But what you got for number 5?
Number 5 is the creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
For my list, it's up at number 5.
I'm glad that's up there for you.
Yeah, and it really was. I thought that this movie was one thing that got me a little bit is a little depressing.
Yeah, it is.
On multiple levels.
Yeah.
But it's a beautifully...
It's tragic. There's there's a lot of tragedy in it.
There is, but there's also a lot of a lot of allegories unfortunately in our world today. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough portrayal of war, and it also doesn't feel that distant, a lot of this stuff. Like,
no, it doesn't.
A lot of the stuff feels pretty close to home, and I believe it's set in like 2070 or something like that. Like the main bulk of the story is about around 2070, 2075. So it's not even that far in the future. Yeah. One thing that I thought was funny is that, like, I don't want to give too much away, but they're speaking New Asian.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, dude, this is only like this is less than 50 years. It's like 50 years from now. Like really, you guys like developed a whole like.
And you're like, it sounds
encompassing
like old
language. No, I just don't really see it. I mean, some of them were there were multiple languages. Like in the movie I was watching with subtitles, so they had like said like Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese. Like all of these languages were also at times people spoke them in the movie, but the bulk of it was New Asian. Yeah. It's like, this is kind of weird, but it's kind of interesting too, just to think about like how languages develop and what would go into that. And I guess maybe if there are like sentient AI, maybe that would do something to kind of like unify the cultures and into one language. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting part of the movie. And I thought that the space station was pretty sweet. Like, the visuals from that space station were pretty cool. the whole like ending sequence, that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That whole scene was like pretty incredible. The CG looked solid. It was all pretty well balanced, like between CG and actual location shots. Technically this movie was nice.
Mm-hmm. I've been when I've had conversations with you and some of my other friends about the creator, I tend to throw the comparison out of Rebel Moon, of how I feel like they both set themselves up to be kind of similar. They're neither one of them are based on franchises already. Original sci-fi. I know there's the whole Rebel Moon is based. It was a Star Wars script. I get it, and it's still not based on original.
It's not based on existing IP.
Yeah, existing IP. Rebel Moon, I think Zack Snyder does a great job of building a world. That's as far as I can go with Rebel Moon. It's a whole...
We talked. If you want to watch, if you want to know more about Rebel Moon and our feelings on it, check out last week's episode.
It's a very hollow movie. The creator does a much better job. Well, it does a job, at least a job. It does
a very good job, I thought, of explaining the setting and everything.
Of having a character arcs, or having emotion.
Oh, yeah, we understand what the character's intentions are. It's pretty apparent.
It does a much better job, and maybe it's an unfair comparison, but they are both more recent original sci-fi. And you know, I do hear people say, oh, there's not enough original stuff, and it's like, well, there is. Just you have to go see it.
Check out the creator.
You have to go.
And now the creator's streaming. That's where I watched it.
Yes,
so it's on Hulu if anybody wants to check that out, which I recommend. Please actually check it out, because it is a great movie.
It is good. And when we were saying depressing, I like Edward Scissorhands is maybe a more depressing movie to me than the creator. You know,
yeah, but this one does have some depressing moments.
For sure. It's not something that when I think about wanting to rewatch it, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna feel really sad.
You know, and also a little bit depressing, because you can imagine a scenario where that would be the response.
Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Go watch The Creator. It's a good movie.
It is.
And,
all right.
And I want to see Gareth Edwards do more.
Number 4 for you, John.
My number 4, what is it? Godzilla -1.
All right.
So
a lot of overlap. Mostly overlap on our list. We might have one or two
different placement for sure. But Pat and I saw this movie last week.
Yeah.
With your roommate, and it was really good. Like I always like Godzilla movies. When I was younger, they were cool because it was
different.
It was like model buildings and a guy in a costume.
Yeah.
You know, and that was always really fun to see, like the practical effects and stuff like that. It was never, for me, about the movies. It was about big monsters fighting each other and buildings falling down and shit like that.
I used to play those Rampage arcades.
Yeah. And, you know, over the course of I remember when, what year was that? Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick, was that like 90?
It's like 99
or something.
2000
with the Puff Daddy come with me
with Jimmy Page.
Yeah. And I never really cared much about like American made Godzilla movies. There's the Godzilla vs Kong stuff, those are fine, but like I'm not trying to watch a Godzilla movie because like I care about the humans. I want to watch monsters fuck shit up, you know? And the humans just don't really mean much. They're a means to the destruction in the story, as far as I'm concerned. However, Godzilla -1 takes place right after the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. And, you know, Japan's devastated. The nuclear bomb awakens Godzilla. And then the movie happens, and the main character in this movie is, in all of Godzilla movies, the one good human story arc. This movie is just great human story arc with Godzilla there. I can't think of any other Godzilla movie with as much depth as this. It's highly personal, and the other thing that I want to say too is I don't necessarily watch a ton of movies out of Japan, but I do watch a fair amount of like Netflix fantasy and stuff like that, and I do see what like international films come through, and you don't always see a lot of World War II movies produced by Japan. There are some. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying when you get it's harder to get a Japanese perspective in media on World War II, and this was a straight like commentary about like life in Japan during that time and what destruction was just around them, you know? And then this other fucking monster pops out of nowhere and just wreaks more havoc. And it's just like, what the fuck? But that main character.
Yeah, can't we get a break, right?
Yeah, totally.
It must have been how they were feeling at the time.
And I mean, the story arc for the main character is outside of a Godzilla movie, just it is thought provoking and I'm
relatable too, because you could see yourself in if you were in his shoes. I mean,
I don't know if it, for me it's not as relatable. I just think it's like
I think it's pretty relatable.
I mean, that guy has gone through a lot of trauma, and I don't have the same kind of
that's
trauma.
True.
That, like,
yeah, true.
It's very deep with Godzilla. Like, I don't know. I'm stumbling over words, so I'll keep it short so we can move on to your number 4. But yeah, Godzilla -1 I thought was great. I really hope people go and see that movie, and I want to see more of them. And I think the same director did Shin Godzilla, which I didn't.
That, yeah.
I think that's the same director. It might not be, but I think it is. And that was one that I missed.
I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, I remember seeing like a preview for it before it came out, and I was like, cool. And then sometimes when international films come out, like you'll get like ads for them, like a little. You may see a trailer and you're like, "Oh, cool," but then like nobody else advertises for it, and then you forget about it, and then like 10 years has gone by, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that was a movie."
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, what's your number 4?
My number 4, I believe, was the biggest movie at the box office this year.
No.
Barbie. Yeah, it was just enough to make it to number 4 for me.
Are you?
No, I was so pumped to go see this movie. I was like, hell yeah. The story really didn't even need to exist. I was just so excited by the time I got my ass in the theater, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's go. And it did not disappoint at all. No, this movie was nonstop fun from the beginning till the end for me. There were definitely things that I thought could have been, I guess, more developed or more focused on, or more use, like out of what's his name, Jamie. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the Greek last name. Stathlets Flats.
Oh, Dimitru?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie Dimitru. He's so funny, and like he just was criminally underused in this one.
I completely forgot he was. He's
one of like Will Ferrell's henchmen.
The Mattel.
Yeah, he's one of the Mattel guys.
Yeah.
But they also made him American.
Yeah.
Which is funny, but like they just could have done more with him, and that's just because I'm a fan. You know?
Yeah, he's funny. We both like him a lot. I have a crush on his sister.
She's also hilarious.
She is fucking hilarious.
They're so goofy. But man, this Barbie. Oh man, I don't even know where to start. You get the perfect casting of Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling as Barbie and Ken. Obviously, man, that was just spot on. I don't think there could have been a better choice for either one. And then you factor in like the other Barbies and the other Kens, and also those characters are freaking hilarious. And then the soundtrack with there's like the Lizzo song that starts out where it's like, "Hey Barbie," and like she's like just doing her thing, and then when she starts getting her existential crisis, like the lyrics change, and it's like narrating kind of in song what's going on. It's kind of like that had that musical feel, but only a couple musical numbers, got that Dua Lipa song, which was
Dance the Night.
Great party song. I listened to that shit even outside of.
I watched a quick thing
movie.
earlier today. It was because Mark Ronson produced that. It was Mark Ronson and Dua Lipa, and they talked about like the making of it. It might be like a Vanity Fair.
All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, you should check it out. Yeah.
It's a fun song for sure.
It's a good song.
Yeah, I like that song a lot.
I do too.
I listen to that jamming in my car sometimes. Yeah. Baby, you've got. But yeah, man, I don't know, Barbie. Well, it's just a cinematic, like a fun time that anybody. I think this brought a lot of asses back into the theater seats.
It's the type of when we talk about fun and how it can be.
This was an event.
Well, it was an event, and it became an event with the Oppenheimer thing. But I think Barbie as a movie, it's thought provoking. It's got all these like big themes behind them that are super important. But also, like that's the movie. That's the kind of movie that needs to be a fun movie.
Yes, and it was.
Yeah, and they did a good job of that. So.
That's pretty much all I have to say about Barbie.
Okay. So that's your number 4?
It was.
Okay, so my number 3 is, I just saw this on Christmas, is Poor Things.
Yeah, I haven't yet seen this.
It's a good one. It's weird. It was definitely the right choice to watch with my family at Christmas. It's like 90% sex scenes, so if you're interested...
Exactly what you want to see.
If you're interested in seeing this, maybe go see it with your young nephew or something. I don't know. No, don't do that. Yeah, no, there's a lot of sex in there. It actually has a lot of the same themes as Barbie. It's like a Frankenstein Barbie concoction. It's based off a book from like 1920 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's about this girl who's basically discovering herself. So I will do a quick. No, I shouldn't do that. There's spoilers in there. It is an interesting movie. It was weird. And I've been thinking about it since I saw the movie. Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones where I was just like...
It sticks with you.
Yeah, and it sticks with you for all of the reasons. Mm-hmm. It sticks with you not just because, like, oh, this thing happened. Oh, that was interesting. Let me think about that. It's interesting because, like, that thing happens while also, like, the cinematography is telling you, like... Or you know, distorting your perspective. Or, like, they use this shit ton of wide-angle lenses. I forget the size lens they use, but they use this one that was made for, I think it was like Super 8. But when they put it on a digital camera, it created like a looking through a door, like it vignetted the whole picture, so it was like just a round circle essentially. So it kind of looked like you were looking through like the peephole of a door. And they utilize those things really well.
This director's kind of a master at his craft.
So I actually haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any of his other movies, like The Favorite or The Lobster, which I might go back and watch some of those now.
The Favorite was fantastic. I mentioned that how good the acting was, and I thought in The Favorite, I thought that especially Emma Stone, I thought was a standout, and Olivia Colman also.
I don't think I've seen a better performance. I mean, again, I didn't see The Favorite, but I don't think I've seen a better performance from Emma Stone than in Poor Things.
And she's great in everything.
She is great in everything.
She's so good.
Mark Ruffalo is probably my standout from Poor Things. He's fucking hilarious. So you can they're different characters for sure, but you could essentially say that like Emma Stone's character would be like the Barbie character, and Mark Ruffalo's character would be like the Ken character.
Did you ever catch the movie The Kids Are All Right with Mark Ruffalo and
no, I didn't.
Who's it? Julianne Moore and Annette Bening.
No, I didn't.
It's kind of a depressing movie as
Let's
well.
not sidetrack too much because it's like 7:10.
Whatever. Like... I was just we got the longer battery. I know. So anyway, I was just getting at Mark Ruffalo's performance. He's always been like a standout. Just hasn't necessarily had the material to work with but it sounds like in this one he does.
You know, the first time I remembered seeing him was in a movie I don't like that a lot of people like, Shutter Island. And he was fine in that movie. I don't like that movie. I remember watching that movie, and 5 minutes in, I was like, I literally called the ending, and I was like, okay. And then the movie just was not interesting.
It's almost like an M. Night Shyamalan movie or something where there's like, it banks on that twist.
Yeah. And like, if you see the twist coming, you're like, well, okay, what's the point?
Yeah, true.
So
all right.
Yeah. Poor Things is great. I think one of the issues I had is that the score doesn't work for me at all points in the movie. It works at some points.
You said it's like a lot of like violin trills and stuff like that.
It's that like when you hear like one violinist in a room and there's like a
almost like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, like that. And like it works very well at some points for me. At other points it was just kind of like
that stark sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, Poor Things is my number 3. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 you've talked about already and we've discussed, and I don't really have a whole lot more to say, but it is Across the Spider-Verse. And the reason it's so high for me is because of those visuals. Mm-hmm. It really is just incredible.
Because you saw it on acid.
I saw it on my 80-inch TV. Yeah, you just watch that. You see that like. That animation is just next level. I've never seen anything that looks like. I mean, I saw the first movie.
Yeah,
but
I think I mentioned when I was talking about it that they didn't like up it too much. Like they didn't need to drastically like take leaps and bounds in the animation, but they did enough to make it like, oh, I didn't see that in the first movie.
Yeah,
they did like
exactly. And then we briefly mentioned the spot thing, but like with all that dimension, the interdimensional stuff. So crazy, so cool.
I need to rewatch that one.
What do we have here for your number 2?
I need to rewatch that.
You rewatch it?
I remember specifically thinking a lot of Jason Schwartzman's one-liners were like hilarious, but I can't think of any of them right now.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that as well. We should watch that together.
Yeah, I'm down. Okay, well, my number 2 is one you just mentioned. My number 2 is Barbie. Barbie was a really fun movie. Like I was saying earlier when you were talking about it, it's fun, and that movie is supposed to be like the definition of fun. Like,
at no point in Barbie was I like, when is this movie going to be over?
No,
or anything like that.
Once.
That thought didn't even cross my mind.
I
want more.
I saw it twice in theaters.
You did?
Yeah, I went with my mom and my sister, and then my stepdad hadn't seen it, and so we took him to go see it.
So fun.
Yeah, it's great. Rhea Perlman makes a cameo appearance in it. Danny DeVito's ex-wife.
I don't even remember.
She plays. The creator of Barbie. And yeah, there's just some like, look, I'm not a woman, and I don't relate to things that women have to deal with, but I do think that America Ferrera, like monologue she has there about like when she is like, what does it mean to be a woman? And she's like, you're supposed to be this and this and this. Like, look, I don't relate to that, but I fucking love that scene. Yeah. And by the way, I kind of feel bad for anybody casting for like any movie or theater like play or anything, because that's gonna be the monologue a lot of girls use in like theater classes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's probably gonna be on there for ages after.
Yeah, I mean it's a good one though, and it's deserved to be that kind of thing. Yeah, the movie's great. I had a lot of fun with it. It was some of the like Mattel executive parts of the movie could have been a little, I don't know. There was something slightly off about it, but didn't like not work for me. Maybe Will Ferrell could have taken a pass at some of those. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's true. Some of the stuff that was off for me was that those Mattel execs, the villain. I mean, Ken was also a little bit, but just like the Will Ferrell stuff didn't really click that much for me. It was kind of whatever.
Funny,
yeah,
but it could have been elevated a little bit.
I think
more.
so too.
And the other thing I watched recently was Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie, actor on actor, talking about stuff, and it was great because they were both like, our whole Barbenheimer thing was great. But yeah, hearing them both talk about like the production on their end, and like Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, when they were writing, they were very secretive. I guess this is kind of how they write in general. Is like they were not giving the scripts out. Like they had to finish the script before they would give out pieces and stuff. And so I guess Margot Robbie had because she owned Margot Robbie owned the property or owned the rights to do the property. She hired Greta Gerwig to do the movie. And she was like, "Look, I don't need to be the lead of this movie. You can cast whoever you want for this." And I guess in the scripts, it was always going to be Margot Robbie. Like in Greta Gerwig's head, it was always going to be Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. In the scripts, it said Ryan Gosling, and I was like, "That's cool." Like sometimes that works out where writers get who they want.
We should give a shout out to Alan.
Alan, fuck yeah, dude. Alan's the man. That fight scene with Alan's hilarious. So yeah, that's my number 2, Barbie. We talked about it a bit. Yeah, it's just a really great movie. And one of these movies, now that it's out on streaming, I will probably be rewatching at some point. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is not on your list. I have Leave the World Behind from Netflix. Mm-hmm. Writer-director, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I believe it's Sam Esmail. He is the creator of one of my favorite shows, probably my second favorite show of all time, Mr. Robot.
I know what your first favorite is.
Yeah.
Halt and Catch Fire?
Yeah, no, Mad Men.
Mad Men.
Yeah, my top favorite show of all time is Mad Men, without a doubt. I love that show. Watch that show. It's fucking 7 seasons or something. I think I've seen it all the way through 3 times.
Nice.
Yeah, that show is incredible. But let's focus on the movie. Leave the World Behind. It's on Netflix. It was just released recently. Stars Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and standout performance Mahershala Ali. Always solid.
Yeah.
Always a go-to. He's great in this movie. This movie is also a scenario that unfortunately you can see happening, but it is kind of a end of the world type situation a little bit, and there's some crazy shit in there. One of the standouts for me was the self-driving Teslas. They basically blocked the Long Island Expressway. It's just oh shit. You can imagine somebody hacking a bunch of Teslas and some crazy stuff happening.
It's coming. If it hasn't happened already.
It's pretty wild. But this movie was good. The movie's good. Good.
It's your number 2.
It's my number 2. It's my number 2 movie for a reason.
So it's probably great then, right? Not good. Good implies eh?
Yeah, I mean, as far as great, it's subjective, right? That's obviously subjective. This is we're talking about our favorite movies. This is my favorite movie because I really didn't have any idea what the hell was going on. And I think
I don't know if that's always a good
no.
thing.
I don't mean I was lost in the story, but I didn't know where the story was going to go.
You were surprised by how it played out.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't something that I could really predict. And then it has this ending that kind of ties a few things together that was very satisfying.
Nice.
So, yeah, just check this one out. I don't want to give too much away. I think that just talking about, stuff that happens in the movie might be giving too much away.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. One thing I thought was a little weird was the rap song in the intro credits was a little weird.
Okay.
But something to check out. I also think that
it was the ninja rap song.
I also think that Ethan Hawke, at one point he shares a cannabis vape pen with Mahershala Ali's daughter in the movie. Mm-hmm. And he definitely seems like he's baked. He did such a good job, man. I think he's a pretty good actor. I think he's pretty good. And I think he did a good job in this. and I think that you should watch the movie too.
Sorry, my eyes are getting all.
So this one's on Netflix. You can definitely check it out.
What was?
And you should.
What was
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind.
Yeah,
right.
It's been pretty popular.
And that was your number 2.
It's my number 2.
All right. Well. Oh shit. My number 1 is The Sound of Freedom. I'm just kidding. It's D&D.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves is my favorite movie of the year. It came out a while ago, and it like instantly made it to Paramount. But I love the movie so much, I decided to buy it because I don't usually keep a Paramount Plus account around.
Fair enough. Yeah, we talked about this movie already. Yes. It was higher on my list. Higher meaning
lower on your list.
Whatever.
Yeah.
However you want to look at it. Yeah, it was a higher number. It was lower on the list. But why was this your number 1?
It just it checked all the boxes for me. It was I mean, I'm already inclined to fantasy adventure movies. As you mentioned, it has the best Chris.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez is great. What is his name? The magician kid.
Oh, yeah, Justice Smith.
Justice Smith. Yeah, he's great in that. And Sophia Lillis. I like Sophia Lillis. I want to see her do more stuff. Actually, this isn't my favorite thing that she's been in. I wish they would have done a little bit more with her character in Dungeons and Dragons.
Didn't she play the young, like, Jessica Chastain character in It?
My favorite thing that I've seen her do was I really liked, and I was so sad that they canceled it. What was it called? I can't remember the name of it now. It was a show where she finds out she has like superpowers on Netflix.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen this one.
I forget what it's called. It was like a 3-line or 3-worded like quick title.
Okay.
I forget.
Yeah, I saw her in. I think I first saw her maybe in the It, the It chapter 1. I was just like, kind of whatever about.
I never really cared about.
Yeah, it kind of just whatever. But I thought that she did a great job playing a young Amy Adams in Sharp Objects, limited series on HBO.
Yeah, the whole cast is great. Like you were mentioning before, the guy from Bridgerton. It was like, is it like Reggae Jean Pierre or something like that? I think is his name.
Sounds right.
And Hugh Grant
as the villain. Yeah.
So there are some moments with Hugh Grant in that where you just want to fucking punch him in the face. You're like, I hate you so much.
That's what you want from a good villain.
That's Hugh Grant though.
Yeah.
I don't ever really want to punch him in the face, but yeah, great. I mean, the red wizard chick that they have, kind of a throwaway villain. That's totally fine. It's a Dungeons and Dragons movie. I didn't need too much. I remember asking your friend Brian a week or so ago what he thought about it, because he was asking me previously about it, and I told him I really liked it. And I get the complaint that him and your roommate had about it. It was like, Brian was saying they should have incorporated more like the roll of the dice from the game, and this is where I absolutely disagree with that. Yeah. We're not playing a game. Yeah. We're watching a movie.
Right.
I want to be immersed in the movie, but I don't want like a choose your own adventure movie so much.
I think they did do a little bit of like random chance stuff.
Kind of. Yeah. They talk about like how the plan's going to play out, like the editing kind of montages, like the way things go a bit.
Right. Chris Pine is like the plan guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, but, and I get like people who are D&D fans, I get not I get being immersed in it and not getting some things that you get from the game, but also like I've been racking my brain for the last like couple of weeks since he mentioned that about like how would you do that? How would you incorporate like a dice throw into this what we got?
There's that scene with like the tiles. Right, like where he has to like they would like go through like some long algorithm of like, oh, you have to like walk this way and do this one thing. And
oh yeah,
that kind of felt like a little more like the game.
Like Yeah, they're like trying to cross the bridge, and then Justice Smith takes a step, and the whole bridge just collapses, and then they have to figure out. That was cool.
Oh man, and the scene in the graveyard too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's such a funny ass scene. Yeah, that movie is just great. I really like that movie.
We're talking about fun here.
Yeah,
and in these times, like, look, like not every movie has to be escapism, but some of the best movies of the year were escapist type movies.
I'll be straight up. I watch content to escape. I need escapist content.
I think we all do.
That's why, dude, a lot of my favorite movies are fantasy, science fiction, fantasy stuff. This just nailed all of the points. Again, I will sit here and I will also agree with everybody saying this is not even close to like the best technically made movie of the year. I fucking love this movie, unabashedly love this movie. I own it. Since I've bought that movie. This is gonna sound weird. A true test of a good movie for me is one that not just rewatch, but I will throw on and pass out to. Like regularly. For a long time, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was that for me. This is the new version of that for me. I throw it on all the time when I'm just like, what am I going to watch that I don't have to like? Because, if you like falling asleep watching something, I don't like putting on a new thing because then I'm going to be awake because I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And I miss something.
Yeah, for sure. You got to put on one that you already know.
Yeah, and so I like the background noise and stuff. And man, Dungeons and Dragons so fun. That breakout scene at the beginning you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
One of my I've had a few of those too, the turn on and go to sleep movies.
Yeah.
And one of them for me was Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
You remember I remember telling you about that. Yeah, dude. I would make it maybe 5-10 minutes in because it's a little boring. That movie visually was amazing, but it was boring. I don't think anybody would hate.
There is still talk about another one. I don't know if it's happening.
Maybe one time in the future, but it's not going to like be as serendipitous. Like you're not going to get Daft Punk to do the score.
No. There was talk of a straight sequel though, where Jared Leto's character I think was going to continue. He was the villain.
Okay. Yeah. Clue, I think.
Clue. Yeah. I don't know if that's still a thing though, but I know they had talked about that for a while. I think there was a show or something as well that actually might have come out. I don't.
There was a show. Yeah. I think it was like an animated show on Disney. Yeah, Disney XD. Mm-hmm. And this is a funny story. I found out that a lot of that stuff, a lot of the score being Daft Punk, it was actually Daft Punk and another guy. And that other guy went on and he did the score for the show too. But he actually did more of like the orchestra type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because like Daft Punk's great musicians, but they're not necessarily inclined to be like composers for film, and so you're gonna have to work with another film composer. Yeah,
and not to say that they didn't have a huge influence, because you could hear so many of their sounds. Like you got that synth ARP that comes in that's really good in the Son of Flynn, I think is we're getting too far into this movie, but anyway, We'll see what happens with Tron Legacy. But that was my go-to-sleep movie, and that's for a good reason. But for a different reason than yours.
Let's get into your number one.
All right.
Which is?
Oppenheimer.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. And for many reasons, but...
More like Floppenheimer. I mean,
right? Yeah, right. You mentioned most of them already, so we can just go ahead and talk about... how memorable this movie was for me. I saw this movie on the day of the so-called Hurricane.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, this is the second earthquake. I've spoken about this on the show already, but this was the second earthquake, or third, really, that I've experienced.
In the movie theater.
In a movie theater. The first one was Good Burger in, like, 1997.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. It's funny because this year, Good Burger 2 came out.
Yeah, I got dropped off to this movie with a friend. We saw this movie. We enjoyed it quite a bit. It was pretty fun. I love these characters from Snick and everything. And then when we got picked up, they're like, do you guys feel that earthquake? I think his parents picked us up, and I was like, what earthquake? What are you talking about? So I didn't even feel that.
Yeah.
And then but the second one I definitely felt, and that was that Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah,
the one where they go to Europe. And Yeah, and I got a little freaked out.
John,
I thought John was just like shaking in the seat or something, or like kicking the seat. So I looked over and I saw that he was still, and I was like, "Are we having an earthquake?" And then straight forward, just looking, didn't even look at me. Yeah. And then just kept watching the movie, probably eating some popcorn if I was going to like recreate the scene.
This is exactly how I remember it.
Drinking some soda, eating some popcorn. Yeah, earthquake, whatever. Just shaking pretty violently. This was like close to a 7 on the Richter scale, but the epicenter was in Ridgecrest, so like a few hours from us.
But Pat like got out and left the theater, and I sat there like thinking like, well, if I'm gonna die, it's gonna be watching a Spider-Man.
I just got up because I was getting a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
Scaredy
cat.
Yeah, there might have been a little more that I don't want to mention on stream.
No, that's fine. Look, you shouldn't feel embarrassed about that. I should feel embarrassed that I don't care enough.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, you're just like, I'm just gonna go down eating some popcorn, watching Spider-Man,
hey,
whatever.
Look, it could be worse.
Yeah, could be way worse. And then, but this one,
yeah.
Oh man, this earthquake during Oppenheimer was crazy. It was right when they were getting ready to test the bomb, and there's like a big lead up to that first test, right? Like there are a bunch of like different shots, like everybody's getting ready and prepared, and oh man, and then just I was like, people were looking around. Is this part of the movie? What's going on here? And then somebody out loud said, "Oh, and we were afraid of the hurricane." And it ended up not being that big of a deal. But the whole rest of the movie, I was kind of like, I was sweating a little bit. I was feeling a little stressed.
You're like, fuck, dude, Nolan went all in on this one.
Yeah. It's like, damn, dude, this is 4D cinema right here. You got sound effects that are shaking the seats? No. It was a straight up earthquake. And it was pretty damn close to it.
4DX.
It was pretty close to us. He was in Ojai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty, it wasn't that strong, but it was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I felt that. I think
so
everybody
the movie,
movie was incredible. The movie is so good. Like you said, probably Nolan's best.
Yeah,
it was probably his most cohesive, his most fully realized, his. I don't know about his most ambitious, but definitely his most. Fully, I think everything that he was going for came across on the screen. I don't think there was one thing where I was like, oh, I wish there was more. No, I don't wish there was more anything. I think this was just a fantastically made movie. And the acting, you've said quite a bit already, like Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much a shoo-in for this.
Best scene was the nude scene where they're both sitting in chairs.
That scene was actually really good.
It was a really good scene,
it was
but it was also kind of funny because they're both like just sitting there like cross-legged, like naked, like having an in-depth conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some pushback about like, oh, you didn't need to include that. It's like, it's not a big deal unless you're just like a complete prude and you have issues with seeing naked people. Then you might want to talk to your therapist about that.
If you had a problem with that scene, do not go watch Poor Things.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, or any R-rated movie, basically. Like, it wasn't that bad.
Or just don't have sex with people.
Yeah, it wasn't, again, if you have a problem with that scene, you should probably talk to your therapist, because it wasn't egregious. It wasn't over the top. I heard, like, some pushback about that. Like, why do they need to include a sex scene in this movie? Like, why not? Who cares? Something all humans experience. Yeah.
So anyway, it was your number one, man.
Yeah, it's my number one. It was, I think, the best movie of the year too.
It's probably going to get some accolades too. As it should.
Oh, one of my favorite scenes though, when you were talking about, I was thinking about that scene where at the end, Robert Downey Jr. is asking, he's like,
spoiler alert,
or it's like they're talking about like, oh, so what did Einstein say to you?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's so good.
How that played.
I just love that with that shot with Einstein, and just like thinking about the whole. There's so much like not controversy, but conflicted feelings that these characters are experiencing, like in real time in the movie. They're it's so like Oppenheimer himself, and this is from what I've read and from what I've heard, so much of it is true about how he felt after the, spoiler alert, the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Wait a minute, people died? What?
Man, like, you have to live with that. And he felt responsible himself when he really wasn't necessarily his doings.
I do have to say, And this sounds funny, and it is kind of a joke, but at the same time, it really works if you do a double feature Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those do go
more so than
thematically.
Oppenheimer and Barbie. Sure, those were released around the same time, but
Well, those
movies
were counter-programming to each other,
yeah.
which was what the whole thing was. But I do think if you're going to do, like, Godzilla -1 is probably, obviously it's a Godzilla movie, but it does show, like, you get a lot of the perspective of the post-nuclear bombs going off in Japan perspective,
and you see like how the Japanese public in Godzilla -1, they weren't necessarily like angry at the Americans or anything like that. I mean, at least they don't show that on screen.
I mean,
I don't know how much anger there was against
there
the
probably
US.
was, but it didn't need to be part of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's just something to think about. Like, they had a lot of reason to be angry, but at the same time, they also brought a lot of that upon them. Not to say that the citizens did. Like, the civilians definitely did not. But the military conquest that Japan was trying to just what they were trying to do in the Second World War, a lot of that was not positive.
Well, that was our list. I had a couple of movies that I wanted to see this year, but I just didn't get a chance to see. And maybe they would have ended up on my list. Stop reading my list, Pat.
I can't even see. I don't know. I'm blind.
God damn it.
I can't see what that says.
Yeah,
I don't
you
have my
can.
glasses
You
on.
have your fucking robot eyes in.
Oh, yeah.
Stop lying to me.
I got my mad eyes.
Your mad eye.
Mad eye patty.
Mad eye patty. That's fucking great. There's a couple of movies that I really wanted to see. Didn't get a chance to see them. Could have been on the list. One of them was Blackberry.
I would like to see that.
I've heard nothing but great things. I also love Glenn Howerton and want to see
another
him in
movie
the-
that was like based on a true story or loosely based on a true story was Tetris. I didn't see that one either.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted it with Taron
Egerton.
Taron Egerton. Yeah.
The big one that I really wanted to see was The Holdovers, the new
What's
Paul
that?
Giamatti movie. It's like he's a professor that stays with some kids over the holiday break because they don't have a place to go. This is kind of the premise of it. It looks great. I've heard nothing but great things about that from everybody. Then there are, speaking of our Three Musketeers, there are 2 Three Musketeer movies that came out this year, and they're part 1 and part 2. They're French produced.
I'm down to watch those for sure.
The first one's called, the first part is just D'Artagnan, and the Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan. The second one is part 2, Milady, the Lady de Winter. Lady de Winter in this movie is played by Eva Green.
Okay.
And there's since it's a French movie, there's not a lot of terribly big actors. Ava Green's probably one of the biggest ones, and then Vincent Cassel is one of the.
As long as you didn't say Gerard Depardieu.
No, he'll always just be just a random musketeer in my book. He's not part of a crew. He's just his own. No, and then Vincent Cassel's in it too, and both of them look really cool. I just never saw them. They're all in French, and the second part came out this month. So I don't know where they're streaming, but hopefully I'll get a chance.
Well, yeah, we'll have to check those out.
And then I like the Mission Impossible movies, and I just didn't get a chance to see the.
Oh, you didn't see this latest
I didn't
one?
see the newest
I didn't
one.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those that you mentioned on your list, but also a couple more that I'd like to see are American Fiction.
Yes.
And Beau is Afraid. I've heard that this is maybe Ari Aster's like most self-fulfilling movie.
Yeah.
Like he kind of needed somebody to put him in check a little bit. This is what I heard. I can't speak for this because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I still would like to check it out because it looked like a visually captivating.
Oh, the other one I didn't have on my list was Napoleon. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix. But anyways, that was our list for this year. That was an hour and 40-minute conversation.
Sweet.
Baller. And we're still only at half battery life. So I think this is going to be a positive change camera-wise for the live stream. We'll use this one. That also frees up my other camera to just be able to take places more. Anyways,
if you watch this video, let us know if you enjoyed any of these movies.
Yeah, let me know what you guys think. What's some of your favorite movies of the year?
You want to continue the conversation in the comments?
Yeah, please. Also, thank you guys. Anybody who's watching this episode, thanks for last week.
Yeah,
we got a large view count, larger
in comparison,
view count to what I normally get, and that was nice.
Hopefully, some of you guys will check out this one as well.
I know I clickbaited the shit out of that, but it was worth it. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next week we're doing the No Friends video premiere,
and this is the last episode of 2023.
This is the last episode of 2023.
This year kind of flew by.
Next episode is 2029. We'll see in
we'll see you in 5 years.
See you in 5 years.
We'll see you guys in.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a week. Let's see. There's just new music coming. I feel like there's more things to talk about, but we'll get into that next week because it's been a long episode, so we'll get out of here. Don't forget to check out the link in the description. It'll take you straight over to Planned Parenthood, and I think you should donate to them because I like Planned Parenthood, and I've donated to them, and they do some great stuff. But also, go support my channel because that is really important. If you like what I do here, I really need the support. Go buy a t-shirt or sweatshirt or framed print or coffee mug or something. Help me out. Help me support this channel. Help me make more stuff. And yeah, that's about it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. See you guys in the new year.
In 2024.
See you guys next year.